Seniors, top 4 juices to restore vision and memory while you sleep. By the time most Americans pass 60, the changes in vision and memory aren't just normal aging, they're the result of very real biological shifts. In the US, more than 12 million older adults live with moderate to severe vision impairment according to the CDC, and over 1 in 9 seniors report daily memory lapses that affect tasks as simple as driving at dusk, reading labels, remembering appointments, or even navigating familiar stores. These aren't small inconveniences, they chip away at confidence, independence, and the ease of everyday life. The reason these problems accelerate after 60 is surprisingly simple: the brain and the eyes share the same tiny blood vessels and the same vulnerability to oxidative stress. As circulation slows and inflammation increases, the retina loses clarity and the hippocampus, the memory center, struggles to store and retrieve information as easily as it once did. That's exactly why I want to walk you through these top 4 juices. Liquids absorb faster, deliver antioxidants more efficiently, and reach the brain and eyes during the very hours when your body is repairing itself, while you sleep. And because juices break ingredients down into their most bioavailable form, the nutrients that support retinal cells and memory pathways get delivered without making your digestive system work overtime. So if you want more content tailored to seniors who want to stay sharp, stay confident, and stay independent, go ahead and subscribe. It helps me continue creating videos designed just for you. 1. Blueberry Spinach Night Juice. Most people over 60 are surprised to learn that blueberries are one of the very few fruits whose antioxidants can actually slip through the blood-brain barrier, almost like they were designed for nighttime brain repair. It's a rare biological privilege, not many foods can do that, and spinach, of all greens, ends up being the primary natural source of the carotenoids your eyes quietly beg for after decades of exposure to sunlight, screens, and night driving. When you combine these two in a simple nighttime juice, you create something unusually supportive for both vision and memory, especially during the hours when your body is naturally restoring the systems that age the fastest. Blueberries carry a set of compounds called anthocyanins, but what makes them extraordinary is how concentrated they are compared to other fruits. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, a half-cup serving can hold up to 321 milligrams of these pigments. Your brain uses them as biochemical shields, especially around the hippocampus, the part responsible for memory. At night, when your glymphatic system flushes out metabolic debris, these anthocyanins help reduce the oxidative stress that slows down the communication between neurons. That's why people often feel mentally clearer the morning after adding blueberries to their evening routine. Spinach, meanwhile, brings lutein and zeaxanthin into the picture, 2 pigments that settle into the macula, the center of your eye that governs focus and detail. As you age, that pigment thins slowly, making bright headlights harsher, grocery labels harder to read, and colors less crisp. What's fascinating is that your macula isn't picky. The moment lutein becomes available, it absorbs it almost like a thirsty sponge. And when paired with blueberry anthocyanins, the combined effect is a deeper antioxidant protection that travels from the retina all the way up to the optic nerve. And because this juice works best when the body is already in rest and repair mode, bedtime is the window when everything lines up, the antioxidants circulate longer, the retina regenerates more efficiently, and the hippocampus consolidates memory from the day. This makes the juice feel less like a beverage and more like a nightly investment in your independence. One surprisingly effective trick, something most Americans don't realize, is that frozen blueberries outperform fresh ones. The freezing process breaks down the skin, which means you absorb more beneficial compounds even if you use the same half-cup measure. And something as simple as adding 1/8 teaspoon of freshly cracked black pepper, the tiniest pinch you can measure with your fingers, can dramatically increase the absorption of spinach's lutein. It barely changes the flavor, but it gives your eyes a better shot at rebuilding their pigment density while you sleep. So, when you take a sip of this blueberry spinach night juice, it isn't just a drink, it's a small, nightly strategy that reinforces the very circuits and cells responsible for the clarity and memory you rely on every single day. 2. Carrot Orange Memory Glow Juice. There's something oddly overlooked about carrots. The beta-carotene inside them doesn't just support your eyes, it feeds a visual molecule called rhodopsin that your retina depends on for night vision. Most people don't realize that rhodopsin naturally breaks down every time your eyes are exposed to light, and after 60, the body rebuilds it much more slowly. That's why bright headlights feel harsher and dim rooms feel murkier than they used to. Carrot juice gives your retina the raw material it needs to rebuild rhodopsin faster, which makes this juice an especially strong choice for anyone struggling with low light clarity. Oranges, on the other hand, bring a completely different benefit. Their vitamin C helps keep the tiny blood vessels deep inside your brain flexible and well supplied, a crucial factor for short-term memory. The vessels feeding the hippocampus are incredibly small, so when circulation slows, memory recall becomes sluggish. And what makes oranges particularly valuable is their bioavailable form of vitamin C, which the National Institutes of Health reports is linked to notable improvements in cognitive reaction scores in older adults. It's not the percentage that matters, it's the functional difference in how quickly the brain responds when it has enough of this nutrient, when you blend carrot beta-carotene with the vascular support of oranges. You get a juice that helps both your visual and memory circuits operate more smoothly from the moment you start your morning. Beta-carotene becomes vitamin A in the liver, then enters the retina to rebuild photoreceptors. Vitamin C stabilizes collagen in the capillaries so they can deliver glucose and oxygen to brain cells without interruption. And because the retina and hippocampus are two of the most energy-demanding organs in your body, this combination sets them up for a more efficient day. Something practical, you'll absorb far more carotenoids when you include a small amount of healthy fat. That's why adding 1/2 teaspoon of extra virgin olive oil to your morning juice works extremely well. You won't taste it, but your body will use it to transport beta-carotene through the intestinal wall. And if you want to enhance its effect on memory, grating 1/8 teaspoon of fresh ginger into the mix boosts microcirculation, helping those nutrients reach the brain faster. These are the kinds of adjustments Americans often skip simply because they've never been told how much of a difference a few kitchen measurements can make. This carrot orange memory glow juice fits easily into a daily routine, and every time you drink it, you support two systems you depend on heavily: night vision and memory processing. 3. Tart cherry bedtime brain juice. Tart cherries are one of the few fruits whose natural melatonin matches the human form closely enough to assist the body's own rhythm. That's important, because after 60, melatonin levels drop sharply, and shallow sleep becomes more common. Since deep sleep is where the brain consolidates memories and clears neural waste, anything that supports that phase becomes a quiet advantage for cognitive aging. Tart cherries don't just help you fall asleep, they also deliver anthocyanins that help calm the microinflammation that builds up inside the brain's memory pathways. A fascinating detail from the University of Michigan shows that tart cherries can reduce certain inflammatory molecules by up to 36 units on standard lab measures, which gives the brain a cleaner environment to form and store memories overnight. The key is that these compounds stay active while you sleep, traveling through the bloodstream to the very areas that handle memory consolidation. Your hippocampus, which organizes and stores new information, becomes more efficient whenever inflammation is kept in check. What makes tart cherry juice particularly supportive for vision is its effect on blood flow. Melatonin doesn't just regulate sleep, it also has a calming effect on ocular pressure and nighttime oxidative stress around the retina. When combined with cherry polyphenol, the retina gets a quieter, more stable environment during the night, which is when most of its cellular repair occurs. And because Americans often drink cold juices, many don't know that slightly warming tart cherry juice, just to the point where it feels cozy in a mug, helps you absorb its melatonin more smoothly. It's not about cooking it, just warming it to the temperature of a comfortable bedtime drink. If your kitchen has vanilla extract, adding 1 drop stabilizes cherry polyphenol and gives the juice a smoother delivery into the bloodstream. Both of these adjustments turn a simple drink into a richer nighttime support system. As you sip this tart cherry bedtime brain juice before bed, you're giving your memory centers a calmer environment, your sleep cycles a steadier rhythm, and your vision a better chance to regenerate without interference. 4. Beet Apple Neuro Boost Juice. Beets stand out because they contain nitrates that your body rapidly converts into nitric oxide, a molecule that expands blood vessels and improves oxygen delivery to your brain. After 60, nitric oxide production drops, which can leave you feeling mentally slower even when you're well rested. The front part of your brain, especially the area responsible for decision-making and short-term memory, depends heavily on steady blood flow. When nitric oxide increases, those areas light up more effectively, which is why many older adults feel mentally awake after drinking beet juice. Apples add a completely different layer of support, a compound called quercetin that protects the mitochondria inside neurons. These mitochondria generate the energy your brain uses to think clearly, recall names, and interpret visual details. Without strong mitochondrial function, your neurons fire more slowly, and both vision and memory lose sharpness. The American Heart Association documented that beet juice can increase frontal lobe blood flow by about 8 milliliters per 100 grams of tissue, a laboratory measurement that reflects a meaningful boost in how efficiently the brain receives oxygen. When the nitric oxide from beets expands your vessels, and the quercetin from apples protects your energy-producing structures, your brain becomes more responsive. And since the retina is technically brain tissue, the improved circulation benefits your visual clarity as well. People often underestimate how to maximize this effect. For example, adding a piece of a 1/4-inch fresh ginger slice increases your body's nitric oxide synthase activity, meaning you convert beet nitrates more efficiently. And because absorption competes with digestion, drinking this juice 2 hours after your largest meal allows the nitric oxide from beets to circulate more freely. These timing and ingredient details are simple but very effective for older Americans who rely on routine. This beet apple neuro boost juice is more than a bright red drink, it's a way to widen the pathways that send oxygen and nutrients to the cells that keep you thinking clearly and seeing sharply. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, and especially share it with someone who might need it today. Your support truly helps this channel grow, and if there's any specific health topic you want me to cover next, just leave a comment below and I'll make it for you. To sum up, ignoring these simple nightly juices can slowly accelerate the decline of your vision and memory, two abilities that control your independence, safety, and daily confidence. When these functions weaken, it's not just your eyesight or recall that suffers. It affects your ability to drive, read, recognize faces, and even stay connected with the people you love. The longer you delay action, the harder it becomes to regain what you've lost. Start taking care of your eyes and brain tonight before the damage becomes irreversible. And now, what if I told you there's another nighttime method that protects your brain even more powerfully? While waiting for the next video, tap the one on your screen to discover more ways to safeguard your long-term health. Seniors, eat these 3 foods before bed to repair your eyes, restore memory while you sleep. I've worked with so many adults over 50, and I can tell you this with complete honesty. The saddest thing I see is when someone believes their fading memory or blurry evening vision is simply a part of getting older. I remember one week at our clinic in Ohio, 37 patients came in complaining of difficulty recognizing faces in low light, and forgetting small details like where they placed their keys or whether they took their evening medication. And almost every single one of them said the same sentence: "I guess this is just age." But science doesn't support that belief, not fully. We now know that the brain and the eyes both repair themselves primarily during sleep, especially between 11 p.m. and 3 a.m., when the glymphatic system and retinal cells are most active. And here's the key: repair only happens well if the body has the right natural compounds available in the bloodstream at night. This is where it gets hopeful. Because these compounds aren't rare or expensive. They're found in certain familiar foods, yes, simple foods, that, when eaten before bed, can restore clarity, sharpen recall, and improve night vision over time. If you felt any of these struggles, type 1 to let me know I'm speaking to the right people. Now, let's talk about the first FO. Food 1. There is a small fruit that many people treat like a casual sweet, yet it holds one of the most powerful natural supports for vision and memory repair during sleep. That fruit is dates. And for adults over 50, the timing and manner of how dates work in the body matters just as much as what they contain. If you've noticed changes such as needing brighter light to read, squinting more, taking longer to focus when shifting from near to far vision, or difficulty recalling details that used to feel instant, those are signs the retina and memory pathways are struggling with oxidative stress and reduced neural communication at night. Dates contain lutein and zeaxanthin, which travel directly to the macula, the area responsible for central vision clarity, especially during sleep, which is when the eye performs most of its self-repair. But that is only half the story. Dates also provide tryptophan, which the body converts into serotonin and then into melatonin, guiding you not just to sleep, but into the deep sleep stage where memory consolidation happens and retinal tissue repairs. According to the USDA, dates are among the top fruits in antioxidant value, helping protect memory cells and retinal nerve fibers from gradual breakdown. Now, the key factor that determines whether all of this actually benefits you lies in how you eat them. Most people take a bite or swallow quickly, but the brain needs stable, slow-released glucose during sleep because it performs its most energy-demanding tasks while resting. So, the most effective approach is to eat 2 dates and chew them slowly about 45 minutes before bedtime. Slow chewing allows enzymes in your saliva to convert the natural sugars into a form that feeds the brain steadily overnight instead of spiking and crashing. Another subtle improvement: drink a small sip of warm water afterward, just enough to soften digestion, not enough to fill your stomach. Warmth helps the body shift toward relaxation, reinforcing the melatonin cycle already beginning. When used this way, dates become more than just food, they act like a nighttime support system, helping the eyes repair damage from daily light exposure and the brain organize and stabilize memory networks. Many people describe the change not as dramatic, but as a sense of waking up and feeling present again, clear, steady, calm, and focused. It is not magic, and it does not rely on force, it works because it aligns with the way the body actually heals, gently, during sleep. Food 2. There is a fruit that looks simple, almost ordinary, yet it holds one of the most soothing effects on the nervous system. That fruit is longan. And for people over 50, this is especially meaningful because memory loss after this age is often not caused by neuron damage alone, it is caused by the mind not reaching deep-wave sleep, the stage where memory is organized and stored. If you find yourself waking during the night for no clear reason, feeling emotionally tired in the morning, forgetting why you walked into a room, or losing track of small details, this is a sign that the hippocampus, the memory center, is not able to power down correctly. Longan contains a group of polyphenol that help the brain shift out of stress mode and into the slower brainwave state associated with deep sleep. This is not sedation, it's a gentle lowering of the internal noise level. A study in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology found that longan extract improved learning and memory by reducing oxidative stress directly in the hippocampus, which is exactly the place affected when stress ages the brain. But the effect of longan depends heavily on temperature. When eaten cold or straight from a bag, the calming effect is minimal because the digestive system must work harder. So the most effective method is to soak 6 to 8 pieces of dried longan in warm water for a few minutes, then drink the warm infusion slowly in the evening. Warmth signals the vagus nerve to shift toward the parasympathetic state, the state of restoration, not alertness. While drinking, rest one hand lightly on your chest or abdomen. This physical cue communicates safety to the nervous system and encourages deeper breathing. The result is a quieter transition into sleep, not a forced one. If repeated nightly for several days, many people notice less emotional reactivity, clearer recall of conversations, and fewer blank moments. What matters here is that longan does not work by pushing the brain harder, it works by allowing the mind to release the day, so memory has space to settle. It supports emotional steadiness, which is the foundation memory needs. And by restoring calm before sleep, longan gives the brain the exact environment required to repair. Food 3. There is a small seed that does not simply provide energy but helps rebuild the communication lines between neurons. That food is pine nuts. After 50, memory changes not only because neurons decline, but because the signals between them slow. The memory is still there, but the pathway to retrieve it is weaker. Pine nuts contain pinolenic acid, which supports increased blood flow to the brain and strengthens the lipid structure of neuron membranes, helping signals travel more smoothly. They are also naturally rich in vitamin E, and the Harvard School of Public Health has noted vitamin E as being linked to slower age-related cognitive decline, particularly in regions associated with memory retrieval. This strengthening does not happen during the day, when the brain is busy reacting, planning, and processing. It happens at night, when the brain enters maintenance mode. That's why the timing of pine nuts is key. The most effective approach is to eat 12 to 15 pine nuts about an hour after dinner, not in the morning. To improve absorption, gently warm them in a pan for less than a minute, just enough to release their aromatic oils. When these oils are warm and active, the fatty acids can be incorporated more easily into neuronal membranes. If you often wake feeling mentally slow, or take a few seconds to recall a name, this is the sign your neural network is asking for reinforcement. Pine nuts provide the material needed to rebuild that network, gradually reducing the pause between recognition and recall. Over time, this leads to smoother conversation flow, sharper morning thinking, and more stable memory retrieval. Pine nuts do not stimulate the brain, they supply the resources the brain needs to repair itself. And when combined with deep sleep supported by longan and retinal restoration supported by dates, the nighttime becomes a powerful window of regeneration rather than a passive state. If you found even one part of this helpful, consider subscribing, not for me, but so you don't miss the next small steps that could protect your eyes and your mind for years to come. What we talked about today wasn't magic, and it wasn't theory. Your brain and your eyes already know how to repair themselves. They're trying every single night. All we did was give them the right materials to work with. And the changes do not happen all at once, they happen slowly, gently, like a light returning to a room that has been dim for too long. So tonight, when you go to bed, remember that your body is still on your side, and when you're ready, watch the next video on your screen, where I'll show you a simple nighttime breathing technique that doubles your deep sleep repair cycle.